Again, I'm very thankful that the procedure went well. I couldn't be happier with the results. It was expensive, but it was worth it, and now we're back, and now we can catch up on all the sports that we missed, which, Jerry, you son of a... You had to release the contract. You had to finish the contract when I was physically unable to talk about it. Man, I hate being late to the party. That's honestly the worst. But Dak Prescott got a new contract late on Monday night, and it sucks because I had the Alex Smith video scheduled for Tuesday at 12 p.m. and that video was immediately already outdated. But hey, you win some, you lose some. But Dak Prescott got absolutely paid on Monday night. 4 years. Take a listen to these numbers, and I really want you to digest these numbers because big numbers, okay? 4 years, $160 million contract, $126 million guaranteed, including a $66 million signing bonus, which is, as of right now, the highest signing bonus in NFL history, with a record $75 million due in year one. The first 3 years base salary is set at about $42 million. The deal will save the Cowboys $15 million in cap space by not signing Dak to a franchise tag, which would have been a $37 million cap hit. And the important thing to note that's not going to make the headlines is that this is actually a 6-year contract with 2 voidable years to help spread out the cap hit. So how these contracts work, and it's not always in the news, but I think it's important that it's mentioned in this Dak contract signing, is that a lot of these bigger contracts have voidable years on them to help the team supplement and spread out the cap hit. So those 2 voidable years are not going to show up on the contract, even though they're essentially there, and the main purpose of those 2 years on the back end of the contract is to help spread out the signing bonus and helps spread out the cap hit that Dak is going to be inflicting on the Cowboys. And oh boy, it is a lot. This is a massive contract. I said that Jerry Jones wasn't going to pay Dak Prescott. I said that Dak Prescott was going to be a free agent, and Jerry Jones, in complete Jerry Jones fashion, being the stubborn man that he is said, we're going to get this contract done. And that was probably the worst Jerry Jones impression that you've ever heard. But regardless of that, they proved me wrong. They got this deal done. I still feel like Jerry Jones completely lost the contract war. I think if he paid him 3 years ago when Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, who were fellow members of that QB draft class in 2016, when they were getting their contract extensions, I think if Jerry Jones paid Dak back then, it would have been much better off for the financial security of the Cowboys, and it would have been a better price tag for Dak Prescott, because the debate is Dak Prescott worth $42 million? And the answer really is nuh-uh, he's not. He's not even close, in my opinion, to being worth that $42 million cap hit. But again, it's not what he is worth. It's what the market is projecting. And the market for a quarterback in 2021 is set at around $40 million. So that is the money that Dak was always going to get. Well, not always going to get, but that's the money that he was going to get regardless of his production on the football field this past season. I just feel horrible for Dak that he had to basically break his ankle in multiple places in order to be able to get a contract like this. But regardless of that, I am incredibly over the moon for Dak Prescott. I'm so happy that he got paid. I'm happy that he has that financial security now, and I don't think it could have happened to a nicer person, especially as the face of America's team with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm very thankful for Dak and what he's done for mental health awareness, and I think he's a perfect leader for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you saw how lost and benign the Cowboys were without Dak Prescott last season. So in that sense, it's very good for Dak. It's very good for the Cowboys. And the deal is kind of actually mostly even when it comes to like the contract details in terms of like who won this deal. If you're looking for a winner, the Cowboys get cap space up front, and everybody's focused on the $42 million a year and the $160 million over those 4 years. But, you know, everybody tends to also forget that this is an extremely backloaded contract, as most contracts like this are. And they are basically centering all of this around. They're basing this contract around the new TV deal that is going to be occurring in about 2024 to 2025. So what this allows both parties to do is Dak is going to be up for a contract extension during that period, and it also is going to give the Cowboys a better opportunity to sign him later in the future, because that $160 million, although it appears to be a gigantic number now, which it is, the way that the salary cap is going to increase over the next couple of seasons, and I'm expecting probably there to be a big boom after a pandemic-laced football season. There's going to be a big boom in the salary cap. The salary cap space is going to really appreciate over the next couple of years, and that $42 million a year is not going to look so bad in a couple of years. It's going to be a little bit difficult on the front side of things, and that's why this contract is so backloaded, because the salary cap for this upcoming season was actually set on Monday at $182.5 million, which is an 8% decrease from when it was last season. So money is still tight. But, you know, this deal is actually pretty even for both parties. There are some areas that Dak Prescott got the advantage, and there's other areas in which the Cowboys probably got off more scot-free than they should have. And again, Jerry Jones was way too stubborn. He should have paid Dak 3 years ago, which would have been a better value for the product or the quality of the football on the field that Dak has been providing for the Cowboys. And sure, not everything is just about the quality of football on the field. What you do off the field and what you do for the locker room is definitely part of the equation as well. But I'm incredibly surprised that Dak got paid. This deal is great for the players of the NFL. Dak Prescott showed that you can play the game, you can cheat the system, not necessarily cheat the system, but you could go against the system and you can win. Is everybody going to win like Dak Prescott is going to win, or has won rather? Probably not. And I think a lot of this still revolves around Jerry Jones's ego, because even with his stubbornness and his reluctance to pay Dak over the last 3 seasons, I even feel like in this contract negotiation, Jerry is going to be like, you're not going to be able to outdo me. People think I'm not going to pay you. Well, I'm going to pay you. And it's just like, I just feel like that it's so big. Like, everything in Texas is bigger, including contracts, I suppose, for Dak Prescott. Now, what this means for the Cowboys moving forward, it's hard to tell. I mean, I think the Cowboys, the expectations are always set so high, and for the last 25 years, the results have mostly been just disappointing for the Cowboys. I think with Dak Prescott, unless things change, you're going to be stuck in a rut of kind of mediocrity, because the second biggest problem in Dallas is the head coach in Mike McCarthy. I think Mike McCarthy was never a good hire for the Dallas Cowboys. I think that Mike McCarthy makes that team very stagnant and very benign, and doesn't really inspire that football team to play good football. And I think that you saw that once their vocal leader in Dak Prescott got taken out last season, how Mike McCarthy was just unable to rally that football team. I think that should be a very good focal point to focus on, and a good storyline to focus on for the Cowboys for this next season. And look, I think the only way or not the only way, but one of the major steps that the Cowboys need to take in order to be better next season and the seasons moving forward is you're going to need to ditch Mike McCarthy. And for Jerry Jones, being the stubborn man that he is, that's probably going to take Jerry Jones probably 2 or 3 years extra than what it was than necessary. I think you need to probably move on from Mike McCarthy at the end of next season, get a better coach in there, because the offense is fantastic for the Cowboys. They've got so many good pieces. The defense is going to be shuffling around a little bit, but they have the talent to be potentially really good as well. It really relies on how good, I guess, or how much chemistry this team can muster under Mike McCarthy. I think that's going to, regardless of Dak and how much he's getting paid, regardless of what he's going to be able to do on a football field, nothing is going to change unless the locker room and the chemistry changes for the Cowboys. And hey, look, mediocre is okay for the NFC East, apparently. I mean, Washington is the best team in that division. They're going to be the best team in that division, I think, moving forward for a couple of years. But with the addition of an additional playoff slot, the Cowboys have their better chances to be making the playoffs. So who knows? They might be a playoff team, but it's not going to be a very convincing playoff team, I think, until you move on from Mike McCarthy. But Dak Prescott's contract, fantastic for Dak. I'm happy for Dak. It's a huge win for players of the NFL in terms of negotiating and what this means for contracts moving forward. Jerry officially lost the contract war. Sure, you're signing a quarterback that you like for 4 years, but his production on the field has never been worth the amount that he's being paid now. And you should have paid him 3 years ago, Jerry. That would have been a better price point, and you probably would have been better off financially now if you just weren't so stubborn and you signed him. But fantastic for Dak. The Cowboys probably got off a lot cleaner than they should have, especially with this contract situation. And we'll see if we get a Jerry versus Dak part 2 in like 3 or 4 years when this new TV deal comes up and Dak is up for a contract extension again. So We'll see. We'll see how that develops over time. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this segment from the Hard Headed Sports Podcast. You've heard what I've had to say. Now I'm interested to hear what you think as well. If you enjoyed this highlight from the show and want to watch more highlights from the show as they come out after the show's completion, you should definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're interested in listening to the entire show in its full-length entirety, you should follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all very soon.